I don't even know how to describe what we just watched unfold. One minute you think a dream is coming true at Daytona, and the next minute it's completely ripped away. That's the kind of emotional roller coaster that only NASCAR can deliver, especially when we're talking about the biggest race of the entire season. This wasn't just another qualifying night. This was about opportunity, about redemption, about an underdog fighting tooth and nail just to get a shot at lining up on Sunday. And for a few hours, it felt like one of those feel-good stories we all love in this sport. The kind that reminds you why you stay up watching every lap, every duel, every chaotic superspeedway finish. But then, something happened. Something that changed everything. And trust me, the impact of this, it's bigger than it looks on the surface. Before we break it all down, if you're a real NASCAR fan who lives for these moments, the highs and the heartbreaks, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to NASCAR Insider News. We're a brand new channel trying to reach our first 1,000 subscribers. And if you love honest, fan-to-fan NASCAR talk, you're in the right place. All right, let's talk about what just went down. The driver at the center of all this is Anthony Alfredo, and for a few hours, he believed he had done it. He believed he had raced his way into the 2026 Daytona 500. After missing the race last year, after knowing how brutally hard it is for an open team to fight their way in that 40-car field, he thought the job was done. And then the call came. Alfredo went on social media and said it straight up. I just found out we're not going to be racing in the Daytona 500 on Sunday because we were disqualified in post-race technical inspection. Can you imagine that moment? You're probably celebrating with the crew. You're thinking about lining up in the biggest race in NASCAR, and then suddenly it's over. What hurts even more is how he reacted. There was no blaming, no finger-pointing, just pure disappointment and pride at the same time. He said, I don't even know what to say right now. I hate it for dude wipes. All of our partners and Beard Motorsports. Everyone worked so hard. We ran a phenomenal race, and I'm just proud of our effort. That right there, that's racer mentality. This wasn't just about him. This was about Beard Motorsports, an open team grinding for every opportunity. It was about sponsors like Dude Wipes investing in a shot at the Daytona 500 spotlight. For smaller teams, making this race isn't just prestige. It's survival. It's exposure. It's funding for the rest of the season. And here's where it gets even tougher. Because this happened in a duel. And remember, the duels are qualifying races for the Daytona 500. The penalty is not even appealable. Alfredo made that clear. He said if this had happened in a regular points race, they would have filed an appeal immediately and hoped for an overturn. But the duels don't work like that. There's no second chance, no review process. It's final. That's brutal. Still, Alfredo didn't accuse NASCAR of targeting him. He didn't suggest anything shady. He admitted it wasn't intentional or advantageous, but he also acknowledged NASCAR has rules, and they enforce them. He said he wants to understand more and learn from it. And then, almost immediately, you saw the competitor come back out. He said he's shifting focus to his O'Reilly Auto Parts Series car and getting ready to practice and try to win that race with Viking Motorsports on Saturday. That's the mindset you have to have in this sport. You can't sit in the heartbreak for too long. You reload. Now, let's talk about what actually caused the disqualification. NASCAR's Brad Moran explained that during post-RA inspection, officials found a hose coming from the right side quarter window that is supposed to connect to the transaxle cooler. That hose must be airtight and properly fastened. It wasn't. On top of that, another hose related to driver cooling was disconnected, and at a superspeedway like Daytona, airflow matters. Everything matters. Even small changes can impact performance in the draft. Moran said they didn't determine exactly how or when the hose became disconnected, but from NASCAR's standpoint, the competitive impact was enough to trigger a disqualification. He compared it to a disallowed qualifying time, and because this was essentially qualifying for the 500, Alfredo was sent to the back of the field, which effectively knocks him out of the race entirely. And let's be clear about something important. Moran emphasized that every car is inspected before competition. Safety, windows, hose tightness, all of it. He made it clear that the hose wasn't just sitting loose on the passenger floor during pre-race inspection. So, whatever happened likely occurred during or after the race. But NASCAR's stance is firm. If something like this is found after any race during the season, it would result in a disqualification. No exceptions. And that's what makes this so tough to swallow. We're talking about a technical infraction that officials can't even confirm the cause of. They don't know when it came off. They don't know how it came off. But the rule book doesn't leave room for gray area. The end result? Anthony Alfredo is out. Beard Motorsports is the third team eliminated following a duel, and one of the most emotional underdog stories of Speed Weeks just ended in the inspection garage. For fans, this is one of those moments where you're torn. On one hand, rules are rules. Daytona is the biggest stage in NASCAR. You can't start bending standards just because it's heartbreaking. On the other hand, man, this one stings because you saw how much it meant to them. You heard it in Alfredo's voice. That wasn't anger. That was disappointment. That was a guy who knew how rare these opportunities are. And when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, this reinforces something we already know about the Daytona 500. There is zero margin for error. Not on track, not in the garage, not in inspection. For open teams especially, one tiny issue can erase months of preparation in seconds. As we head into Sunday, the lineup is set at 40 cars, but it feels like there's one story missing from that grid. For Alfredo, this is another setback in a career that's already required resilience. But if there's one thing racers do, it's bounce back. He's already talking about winning in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series. That tells you everything about his mindset. For Beard Motorsports, this is a reminder of how razor-thin the margins are when you're fighting from outside the charter system. Every bolt, every hose, every detail has to be perfect. And for us as fans, it's another example of how cruel and beautiful this sport can be at the same time. The Daytona 500 will still go green. The 40-car field will take the start, but this moment is going to linger because we all know how hard it is just to get there. If you felt that gut punch too, drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think NASCAR handled it correctly? Or does this feel like one of those technical calls that's just hard to accept? And if you enjoy real NASCAR talk, the emotional side, the honest fan perspective, make sure you like this video and subscribe to NASCAR Insider News. We're a brand new channel chasing our first 1,000 subscribers. And if you're the kind of fan who watches every lap and lives for Speed Week's drama, this is your place. I'll see you in the next one. Let's get ready for Daytona.